Okay, hello, hi everyone. Hello, my name is Laquan Williams. And in this video topic, I wanted to discuss the Superman and Lois Lane season one show. This is the first season. It just aired a couple days ago on the 23rd of February. Um, so on Tuesday, today is Thursday, the 25th. So it was exactly 2 days ago. The first episode, which is also the pilot episode, saw Superman and Lois obviously be reintroduced again on the CW show, which is through DC Comics. So it's another Arrowverse show, but they said that this was supposed to be a much more mature and obviously different version. It's essentially not. It is basically the only slightly difference that we see is that this is a show where the superhero starts out obviously with with a family and not obviously by himself. So this is different. When they were first introduced, they were already get together. This is something we kind of didn't see in other shows. Like when the Flash started, him and Iris West were not together. That obviously gradually changed over time, and we'll see what happens with that. I don't know exactly what's the case, but it's very interesting to see, obviously, what will take place. So the first episode was a couple days ago. The ratings did pretty good. It's looking like it's going in a good position. A good, obviously, I would say, movement. A lot of people online are very happy about it. I read some comments on the next trailer, the trailer for the next episode, which is episode 2, which comes out next week on Tuesday. A lot of people are really liking it. They're enjoying it. They said that it's different. It's a much more mature show for the CW, and they're happy about it. So we're going to talk about that and I'll give my review for it. We'll also explain what I saw in this, but I wanted to talk about my review first before I discuss the article, which is here on tvline.com, which talks about the introduction, which is the first episode, which is the pilot. Most of these characters that you didn't see obviously before, such as Clark Kent's adopted parents, and also Lois Lane's dad, who's obviously an army general. So basically, what we saw in this episode was Superman, aka Clark Kent, and Lois Lane getting into their own of having children and whatnot. It showed basically a fast forward of their life and the events that took place after the Crisis on Infinite Earths episode, a crossover that happened with the Green Arrow show, the Flash, the DC Legends show as well, and Black Lightning, where they had all the characters from the shows team up, and 3 episodes to take down the Lex Luthor and obviously another bad guy. Whose name I can't remember, but he was messing up time and obviously erasing people and whatnot and changing events. So, and Lex Luthor was also doing that as well. So we'll see what happens with that within the next year. There's going to be more crossovers, but it was basically a reintroduction to them, but this fast forwarded pretty quickly because within the about 10 minutes, first 10 minutes of the show, you see obviously Superman and Lois Lane and their kids, and then you get to see them gradually grow a little bit over time, from younger kids to obviously teenagers. So it's a big, huge leap from what we saw them doing on the Crisis on Infinite Earths episode crossover last year, because they had no kids at all. You fast forward a couple years later. In the story, it's a couple years later, but obviously on the TV show it was barely a year. So they had no kids to teenagers in this, so it's a big, huge leap. We saw them obviously work at the Daily Planet as the news reporters, and we also saw Superman obviously, taking the time to help people and whatnot, and obviously, of course, making sure that he was trying to do his best to get to his family's needs, but he did come up late a couple times for some therapy sessions he didn't make. We also saw his kids, obviously, trying to make sure that they explained to their dad that he needed to that he wasn't there a lot of times, and that they were upset and mad at him. They didn't need any explanation for that. And we also saw Lois Lane explain to him that he needed to make time to make sure that he was there for the therapy sessions and to make sure that he was keeping his family close. Clark Kent explained to his to Martha, his adoptive mother, that he was trying to keep everybody together, but it was his fault that things were falling apart. and it wasn't easy for him. But he obviously said he's a superhero. He has a responsibility to help people in innocence and save lives. But obviously, we know he didn't choose to be Superman. That's how he was born when he came to the planet Earth. Obviously from Krypton. Obviously in the alien ship / pod that he was sent down from Earth with, kind of like similar to Goku. As well, and obviously the other Saiyans, where they were, shipped in pods / spaceships, little miniature ones, off the planets that they were on. They were destroyed and basically annihilated in ruins, and with nothing left, basically erased. So we'll see what happens with that. Gradually, as the show continues to evolve, go on, we see Superman as not just a suit evolve, but obviously the escalation for danger involved with the nuclear reactors that he has to obviously help keep from overflowing and exploding and destroying the city by the main villain that he has in this first episode, which will likely be the main protagonist for the next couple of episodes. Before we see obviously Lex Luthor appear, the villain's name is it's right here at the bottom. It's Captain Luthor. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's him fighting up against Superman. He basically knew everything about him. He studied him for years. He knew his real name, Kal-El, his Kryptonian name, or his name on Krypton. So he studied him for years. He knew all of his strengths and weaknesses, which was his main one being, obviously, of course, his weakness to kryptonite. And he used it on him. He stabbed him shoulder-wise towards right here, the upper chest area, believing it would kill him. And he also kind of used some type of a cloaking ability to not find him, because it was told that Superman couldn't see light flickering pretty fast, moving, something like that. So he kind of cloaked himself to be invisible, so he couldn't see him as well. With his super vision, obviously, superhuman sight, supervision of whatnot, before he uses shot the lasers out of his eyes, obviously, but he didn't do that yet. He was trying to see him, but he couldn't because the Captain Luthor was cloaking himself. His suit is like, I don't know what it's made out of, but it was like made out of like titanium or I don't know, vibranium something. But he used heat vision on him, ice. He blew wind at him through his mouth, and that didn't work. So his suit is obviously very, very powerful, very enhanced. The technology is obviously probably some type of alien technology, because the guy Captain Luthor stated that he was from another planet, as well as Clark Kent, aka Superman, as well. And he obviously knows who he is, like I said, and knows all about him. But his planet no longer exists. He didn't explain what planet he was from, but we'll see what happens in the near future. So continuing on with this article, it says on here on TVLine.com, Superman&Lois team, the writers, explained the series premiere's hell of a final twist. We wanted to tell a new story, is what they said. So it says, with Tuesday's series premiere of Superman&Lois, the CW is reintroducing viewers to the two most iconic couple in the DC canon, and much has changed since the last time we saw them. Like I said before, they have two teenage sons now. They're twins. They're fraternal twins, which means they don't look alike, but they look a little similar, but not as similar as much as identical twins would be. So we see them now as the parents of two very different teenage boys, Clark and Lois, played by Tyler Hoechlin, and Elizabeth Tulloch plays Lois Lane. They're running in a rat race in Metropolis until the tragic death of Martha Kent forces the entire family to slow things down. Martha's funeral brings the Kent brood back to Smallville, which has also undergone a few unfortunate changes since our last visit. Since it's nice to see old friends like Lana Lang, Emmanuel Shrikey is the actress that plays her, back in the picture, but Clark's hometown is in need of a savior. And we're not talking about a mustache-twirling billionaire, who is Morgan Edge, played by Adam Rayner, whose greed and short-sightedness has already impacted Lois's job at the Daily Planet. Clark Kent, aka Superman, was actually fired from the Daily Planet in this episode, which is the first one, the pilot. It showed that there was layoffs because the new investor, this big, huge, rich guy in town, his name is Morgan Edge. He's going to be kind of like similar to Lex Luthor, but I don't think he has intentions of attacking Superman. So we'll see what happens with that in the near future. These are the sons of Clark Kent and Lois Lane. This is a Jonathan right here. Um, Jonathan Kent and excuse me, athletic. This is the one who plays football. He's the athletic one. Who's the quarterback? Jonathan Kent, played by Jordan Elslis, and this is Jordan Kent. He's the one who is a loner. He has social anxiety and disorder, and he also is very isolated from everybody else. And he has outbursts and whatnot. He's very obviously upset. He's the one that keeps to himself and plays video games in isolation and stuff. So he is Jordan Kent. He's played with Alexander Garfin. They get the surprise of their young lives when they are nearly crushed to death by a pile of rubble in the barn. Poles, pipes. I'm not a farmer. Let's just go with the rubble. Yeah, the large, huge pipes fell on top of them, and he saved his brother. So it was shown that in this episode, he is the brother that has superpowers. He used his strength to help save him and his brother being crushed by the poles that fell on top of them in the barn at the Clark Kent family farm. He also used heat rays from his eyes to heat vision to save his brother when they were getting attacked by these guys at a party. That was a bonfire type of event where the kids there of Smallville were throwing fireworks and having beer and whatnot. So that's what happened. So, sensing that, continuing on, it says, sensing that at least one of his sons might have inherited his Kryptonian strength, Clark Kent reveals his secret identity to his sons, and they both blow up. The boys blow up after a decision that he regrets making, and now when both of his sons do that, Jordan immediately, perhaps rightfully, suggests that his anxiety is a direct result of his parents' secret keeping, while Jonathan is just as pissed that his natural athletic prowess might not be so natural. So based off of that, on the topic of suddenly fathering teenagers on TV, former Teen Wolf star Tyler Hoechlin tells TV Line, "I'm an old soul. I don't know why, but I've always felt that way. Plus, Bitsy and I have already had such good chemistry coming into this thing, so it all just felt weirdly natural." As for whether there's some truth in his son's accusation, Hoechlin acknowledges we're seeing Clark at a time in his life where things don't just affect him anymore. They affect Lois and his kids. It's not their fault that he's Superman. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. This is him going up against the Captain Luthor character. He has a big, huge suit that's kind of like the Demon Slayer in Doom Eternal. It's similar to that. It's very obviously huge. I don't know what type of material it's made out of. It's alien technology, obviously, because he's from a different planet. Anything that Superman was throwing at him didn't seem to work, obviously. So I don't know what happens, because he also stated that he studied him. As I mentioned, he studied him. He knows his real name, which is Kal-El, his Kryptonian name, where he came from, his moves and abilities, and whatnot. He just does not know his secret identity, obviously. But if that happens, it's obviously going to be very bad. So it says the Kent's super family drama is exacerbated when Lana and Kyle's daughter, Eric Valdez, is the actress. Kyle is an actor that's played by Eric Valdez. The daughter is played by Indy Navarrete. The actress offers to show the boys around Smallville. She and Jordan bond over their respective prescription medications, but his kiss isn't appreciated, especially by Sarah's boyfriend, who subsequently assaults on Jordan. He punches him, pushes him down. His older brother gets involved, and they get attacked and jumped by a bunch of kids from Smallville. His brother, after that, his brother awakens his laser vision, resulting in a dangerous explosion. Yeah, he shot his laser vision towards those guys, and he hit the fire that was being kind of going up in the air. And it made the fire explode. He had a keg, because it was a keg party as well, and it kind of exploded obviously around them. I don't believe it was a propane tank, but it might have been one. But there was kegs obviously because they had beer there, because it was a party on a bonfire beach type of atmosphere. So when they were shooting fireworks, It resulted in a dangerous explosion, and a pretty major party foul. That scary event, plus surprisingly a complicated subplot about reverse mortgages, courtesy of Lana, seals the family's decision to relocate from Metropolis and come to Smallville and take over the Kent family farm. Now that we assess the civilian drama of Tuesday's premiere, let's get to the part of what we all came here to discuss, which is the identity of Superman's mysterious new nemesis, who is Captain Luthor right here, obviously. On TVline.com, it says that after targeting various nuclear reactors to test Clark's strength, the suited stranger reveals, "Where I come from, let's just say the two of us have history. My world was destroyed, but I somehow managed to survive. I eventually arrived here, where I learned here that you were here too. Though little else is explained. Yeah, about him. The episode ends with a strange villain played by Will Parks being addressed by his ship that he comes on as Captain Luthor. So it says Tyler Hoechlin, who plays Clark Kent, aka Superman, tells TV Line that we had conversations about whether Luthor was going to be around, whether he worked with that name or not. So I was aware before I read the pilot. I don't have the same moment that the fans had at the end, the surprising moment, but I think it's great. I love it, and I think the fans are going to love it. You need a nemesis, man, and who else? When Greg Berlanti and I first started talking about this, we wanted an iconic villain for Superman. There's Brainiac, Bizarro, there's Bizarro Superman, and obviously Lex Luthor, and we'll see what happens with that. Now there's Captain Luthor in this, so we'll see what happens with the next steps to take with the show and see how the villains are in the near future. It was our opportunity coming out of Crisis on Infinite Earths to tell a new story and bring the audiences this new journey with somebody that they feel like they have not known. That they feel like they've known. John Cryer's appearance on Supergirl, and he'd been on the show as the main protagonist / villain, Lex Luthor, and he's done this crazy, amazing job of Lex Luthor, but our show is different. We wanted to tell a new story. There's a lot of twists and turns, secrets are revealed, and mysteries unfold, and in a way that this version is going to feel fresh and new and completely different than anything we've seen before. Fortunately, you won't have to wait that long for real answers, as the second episode reveals much about how this Captain Luthor. So we'll see what happens with that. I thought the show was very entertaining. It was cool. But it was just a big, huge jump from obviously what we saw in Crisis on Infinite Earths. None of that was mentioned at all, and it was just a big, huge jump. Like 1, 2, 3. It shows Clark Kent as a kid, when he got his powers, and obviously him starting his role as Superman, his first suit that he had. Then obviously shows the jump until they got 2 small kids now. Then within 10 minutes, it shows all of his life. Before Crisis on Infinite Earths actually happened, when they had the kids, but obviously, well, it was actually after, because they didn't have them out on Crisis on Infinite Earths. They didn't have them at all. I don't remember that. If they did, they were probably small infants, barely, but they weren't shown at all on camera. So I thought it was cool. The show is going to be very interesting, as far as what they can do going forward. With introducing other characters from the other shows on the show and whatnot, and who was able to actually make appearances, obviously guest appearances, whatnot, when they were filming, obviously, because the DC Legends of Tomorrow show on there, on the CW network, Black Lightning, obviously Supergirl, and The Flash, all of them work on different shows, but we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, the Black Lightning show and Supergirl show are on their last season, so in about a month now, they won't be on the air anymore, so yeah, those are 2 less shows on the CW that are not going to be no longer on the network. The Green Arrow and the Canary show was not picked up, so that show will not be on the air. Painkiller, which is played the Khalil character in Black Lightning, will have his own show. It's going to be a spin-off titled Painkiller. That's going to be coming on this summer / early fall. We're going to see the other Black Lightning characters on there as well from the show, and they'll have the crossovers as well with the other characters from that show, and possibly the other Arrowverse network, Arrowverse through the network of the CW. So the CW network will also show hopefully another crossover with all the superheroes teaming up again. Probably very soon. I'd say probably within the next year. So we'll see what happens with that. It'll be very interesting to see that take place. So I'm just gonna watch out for that. I thought Superman's show was fun. It was different, entertaining. But as far as the whole nature of this being a brand new show and it being different as far as the Arrowverse goes, it's basically like this. It's an Arrowverse show that's a little different. The characters, the main superhero has kids before the show progresses. So years ago, obviously, the Green Arrow didn't have kids until he later eventually found out that he had them. Obviously, with William being the first one, that didn't happen until like about the third or fourth season of Green Arrow. The Green Arrow. This is the first episode in the first season of Superman. You get to see him have obviously kids, but they don't start out as kids. You saw the natural progression of them obviously over time in their lives as young boys to teenage boys, and very fast. So it's very different. It's still family oriented and goal oriented, obviously, as the rest of the CW shows like The Flash and whatnot. But we will see what happens. That's just a slight difference. It's more mature. Some people are saying, but I don't see a big difference in shows. As far as this goes, because obviously it's still a CW show and the characters obviously all intertwine with each other, and they're all going to be obviously making appearances and crossovers and whatnot, so we'll see what happens with that. It's just very interesting to see this take place, but the show is still fun, but it's not wholeheartedly hugely different from the other DC TV shows, but the slight difference in twist is obviously, like I said, the main superhero and his main, obviously, I would say love and a partner that he wants to be with her is whatnot. That he is obviously his soulmate. He's already with them. They're already married and they have kids. So it'll be very interesting. Captain Luthor, I don't know who he is. His suit was like I say, he looked like Demon Slayer and Doom Eternal. It was very interesting to see that. Who he's going to be? They said it was going to be another Luthor, so it's obviously not Lex Luthor, but it's going to be a different version of him. It's a multiverse version of him, so that'll be different. So we'll see what happens with that. That's all I have to say about this, but let me know what you have to think about the new Superman/Lois show. Did you see it? How do you think it was? Do you think it's going to be pretty good with the ratings and whatnot as far as moving forward? And will people obviously be entertained by it? And we'll see what happens. But then obviously what's going to be the next crossover show on the CW network with all the DC TV shows. It'll be very interesting to see that. I'm hoping everything's okay, with these shows, obviously. It's very unfortunate we lost a lot of them within the last year. The Green Arrow's gone, Supernatural's gone, Supergirl and Black Lightning are about to be gone. So the Green Arrow and the Canary show to get picked up. Constantine's solo show was not really discussed that much, barely. But the CW network's head executives over there / Warner Brothers said that they weren't doing it. So we'll see what happens with that. And then crossovers and whatnot. I'm going to talk about the DC Legends upcoming season and what's going to happen with that for their 6th season. And that's what's going to happen. It sucks. That so many shows have been canceled, but it was nice to see that there's a new Superman/Lois Lane TV show happening, because last time we got one was like the early 90s with Dean Cain and Superman. That was a long time ago. I was like in the mid 90s. I saw that myself. A couple episodes. Obviously, I was really young. It's like 7 or 8 when it came out. About 6.5, yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with that. But that's all I have to say in regards to this. Superman's new show with Lois Lane on the CW network. It'll be very interesting to see what villains they'll bring in. Will John Cryer reprise his role as Lex Luthor as well? And will Supergirl make an appearance? We'll see, hopefully, and maybe other characters appear, like the Flash, possibly towards the end, mid-season, or towards the end of the first season. It's got 15 episodes. They gave it additional episodes. I made a video about that a couple weeks ago. So they're very confident about it. The ratings for the first episode, which was this Tuesday, a couple days ago, the pilot, did pretty good. So things are kind of looking positive over at the CW network for this show. So hopefully all is well and the show succeeds. I made a video, another one, weeks ago, when I said, is this show destined to fail, or is it deemed obviously set up for success? Is it deemed obviously 2 thumbs up? Is it deemed worthy? Lots of people have said on the trailer for the 2nd episode that they were happy about it. I looked at the comments on TV Promo's YouTube channel. The video came out yesterday, I believe, No, it came out 2 days ago. Yeah, on the 23rd when the first episode aired. I looked at the comments and I googled it as well. You can see the ratings on Google. Lots of people are happy about it, so we'll see what happens with that moving forward, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, it'll be very interesting to see. Obviously, what takes place, and in the near future, and hopefully, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the crossovers and whatnot, and the reception as how things change over time with the ratings, how they fluctuate, and the numbers for the next couple episodes. Obviously, because things are different when the people get hooked on a show, and a couple episodes don't favor them very well, so they stop watching it. But just like with Black Lightning's last season right now, which I've been talking about, I'm watching every episode of that too, and of this as well as the new Superman&Lois show. So we'll see what happens with that. Thank you for watching, and that's all I have to say in regards to this, and state my opinion on it. But I think the show was cool. I thought it was fun. Let me know if you watched it, and if you haven't watched it yet on CW Network. What are your favorite shows on there? How do you feel about Supergirl and Black Lightning not being picked up again for new seasons and they're basically being off the air now? Black Lightning, they decided that they were going to stop, I don't know, creative differences. That's been the rumors about circling that. Ratings were okay, but rumors seem to be the problem, obviously, with the creative differences. People not getting their opinions across is what caused the creative direction to change to where they couldn't come upon agreement. They couldn't come up with a plan together. They couldn't come up with one. Supergirl decided to end too, so we'll see what happens with that. And they got new shows such as Batwoman and Stargirl, obviously, right now. And whatever else is picked up, we'll see what happens with that. Also, the brand new show, Walker, Texas Ranger, receives Jerry Padalecki, who played Sam Winchester on Supernatural, playing Walker, Texas Ranger. We'll see what happens with that. So thank you again for watching. That's all I have to say in regards to this subject matter of Superman&Lois Lane's new show on the DC CW network, DC TV show. It's basically what it is, in association, because all the comic book shows on there are DC related. So we'll see what happens with that. It's different, obviously, from other DC shows that we have, like the Teen Titans as well. And thank you again for watching. That's all I have to say. Goodbye. Thank you.